Gray. Alrighty, once again, spawning up here in the top left from Team Bearsloths, who's our red Protoss player, it is MattTheKat.
And his opponent spawning is the pink Terran in the top right-hand corner of Ultrazim. From Luck13, it is Couchie.
It is indeed couchie. I think the first time I ever cast him, I actually called it. I kept terming him couchie.
Good old Couchie. I knew a guy.
What?
His
Go ahead.
name was I'll type it for you, but that was his name. Well, his
Okay.
last name was not Kutch. His last name is Cooch.
Oh goodness, no. That is not right. That's just not right.
Yeah. I think did I play Couchie? Is he the guy that goes mech?
Yeah. You did. I
Okay.
cast that game too, actually.
Okay, cool.
I remember
That was
that.
a boring game.
Yeah. Well,
Well, let's see if you got.
this is Protoss, so mech will be a little bit less common. But
Did you, did
he
you
is on
see
the.
the DreamHack today? Because 4GD was going mech against Protoss and winning and shit.
Oh no, I didn't see that actually.
It's pretty cool. He just gets like a lot of Hellions, and you're like, wow, flash damage is good.
Well, Daishi did that a long time ago. Just got a ton of Hellions versus somebody. But, you know, it works sometimes, but it's a little bit easier to deal with as a Protoss player compared to, like, I don't know, a Zerg or another Terran player having to deal with mech. But, yeah, it's still a possibility, and Couchie is on the same team as MetalCore, and MetalCore is a 100% mech player, so it wouldn't be surprising if he did try to do something like that.
This is such a map for it, too.
Yeah, it is. It would be a lot of fun. I would enjoy seeing it because it's definitely not exactly standard. He went CC first, so he's going to be following in the footsteps of Mahavishnu from the previous game. Let's see how he does with this. And he's actually going for a gas behind this, so it still could be. You never know. Could be a mech sort of play. CC first and a barracks into a gas is more like a Zerg build. So if he gets, it could get punished as well pretty easily by Matt if he decides to do that. Regardless, it'll be fun to see. I'm pretty excited.
He's going to get the last scout off, so he's not really going to be in much of a position to punish his CC first. Actually, it looks like, never mind, he's rallied. Okay, never mind. I saw the rally point for the Zealot, and it was off the screen. I was thinking he just rallied it all the way to the base, and that's just to his ramp. It would have been pretty next level if he was just anticipating being aggressive with his first Zealot and Stalker, which is something I actually really like, especially on large maps against Terran, because they're normally going to be going for something a little bit greedier. Whether it's a Reaper that's going to be trying to run across the map, or they go for CC first against Protoss in general. But Couchie, he's playing full defensive here. He's got his gas right away, so he's probably going to go for something like, I would imagine, a reactor or a fast factory. This all lines up to be pretty passive overall.
We're gonna pretend nothing happened. We're back.
Wait, what? We left? No, nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Nothing at all. Yeah, this is gonna be actually passive, and like you were saying with this, Cat did get the first Zealot and first Stalker before expanding himself, so he could have gone across and tried to be aggressive with this. He's choosing not to, and it is going to be a factor behind this for Couchie. So he's going to be able to go for like a Widowmine drop even if he wants to, or something like that. But yeah, he's got the chance to stay at home and be pretty safe. This map just kind of lends itself to that because it's easily defended ramp, and he's even going to make a bunker here just to keep that extra safe.
Okay, I think he's not gotten any scout off at all, so if there was a 4-gate coming at him in 30 seconds, he wouldn't be able to defend it. But finally gets it off, gets to see the Stalker, Zealot, Mothership Core, gets to click on the Robo as well at the last second, so he knows what's coming his way. So we'll see. He goes ahead and gets an engineering bay. He's also getting a tech lab, so this guy he's not going to be moving out of his base for like 10 years.
Yeah. Which is nice. As soon as Couch is able to actually see that there is an expansion, he may even be able to go ahead and go for like a third command center very quickly if he wanted to. He's actually making a tank, so I guess we're going to see mech. Is that actually possible?
I mean, it is possible. All things are possible.
Yeah, he's got the engineering bay, but
so
yeah,
we got
this
it.
is hilarious. That's great. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So this is going to be really up to Couchie to make this work. And to see how long it takes Cat to actually scout that this is going to be the case. He's got observers on the way, yeah, but there are some turrets already coming up. If that observer happens to fly directly into a turret, he's not going to be able to see what he wants to see. He may be blind to this mech sort of play, especially if Couchie decides to hide this a little bit more.
Well, I mean, he's going to fly by the floating barracks, so
Oh,
if
that
that
too.
doesn't tip you off, I don't know what does.
Yeah, that might give it away a little bit. Sadly for couchie, he hasn't taken a worker advantage. His CC was down a whole lot faster than the natural nexus of Cat, but workers are still even right now. Yeah, he's got mules, but
He was just scared.
He would definitely like to actually have. There we go. Yeah, there's a third command center, so he still has a chance to make a pretty massive worker swell and take a pretty nice economic advantage if he doesn't get punished by Cat.
We'll see. I think Cat probably could hit a oh my god, a turret shot him from downtown, but doesn't get the spot at 3rd CC. There could be a decent Colossus timing, I think. If the Robo facility comes, he hits like a timing with 2 or 3 Colossus with range off 2 bases. Like that could be pretty good, especially because the siege tanks aren't really that great. Whenever you just have tons of zealots that soak up the damage and the Colossus just laser beam him. Or he could just go for counter expands himself. I think that in circumstances where you find someone being super defensive, it's best to you identify that they're being really defensive, so you just double expand. No matter what race you're playing. It's obviously easiest and the most common for Zerg, and that's what I played for a long time. But I think doing it as Protoss and doing it as Terran is certainly viable as well.
Yeah, Matt is finally going to get the scout off with this hallucinated Phoenix here. So you will be able to see that it is actually going to be mech, so you can plan against that a little bit better now. And he also saw the 3rd command center even, so...
Oh, look at this base in the bottom right.
Oh, my goodness.
That's not going to be scouted like this entire game.
No, probably not. And that's going to be a big deal. Hidden bases... when you think, like, if, say Matt gets over here and denies his 3rd base, maybe even kills it off, he's going to think he is miles and miles ahead. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit, it's going to be a nice victory, but there's still going to be a 3rd base down here. It can really trick a Protoss player into thinking that they're in a better position than they really are. Again, it's going to be up to the couchie to actually be able to defend. He only has 2 factories right now and a starport with a tech lab. It's not a whole lot of unit production actually possible for him. And it is still a bunch of siege tanks that are going to be difficult to break. But again, this is definitely going to be how well can he defend this.
I think he can do just fine, to be totally honest, because to break a siege line, you need some Zealots with some pretty good upgrades, you need Immortals, Colossus are pretty good too, as well as Archons, and it's going to take a long time to get that, and if couchie wants to defend, he's going to defend. Like, that's just the power of Terran, it's the power of tanks, and the way that they interact with particular terrain. And now he's getting 4 bases, so he's playing really greedy off of this, just showing like, hey, I'm being really defensive. And Matt's just looks like he wants to hit some sort of timing here, as he's still not thrown down a 3rd nexus. But I'm not sure what his plan is. Like, if he identifies this really, really greedy defensive play and doesn't aim to punish it, why not just be greedy yourself?
Yeah, he's got a probe here waiting to put down a nexus, I suppose. But he has made a 2nd robo facility here, so he's going to be able to go for that like double immortal production and really try to deal with the fact that couchie's got a bunch of tanks out already. But still, it's going to take a while for Matt to be comfortable to move out, really. That's why I'm kind of surprised he still hasn't thrown this as 3rd nexus yet. And the longer that takes for that to get down, the further and further he's going to fall behind economically. For the time being, he's kept an even worker count. But now there's a 3rd base here finished for couch. He's got these next 2 gases finished up.
4th base, by the way.
Well, 4th base, yes, technically. But there's nothing really over at this 4th base other than the fact that there is another orbital. So a 4th orbital is going to be a nice little addition. And he's going to be able to get the gas here as well. So he's going to be able to start producing whenever he actually has the minerals to produce. But it's still going to take a while for couchie's production to really, really kick in and get really ridiculous.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and grab a beer. I'm going to be here a little while.
Perhaps. You know, couchie could get caught on siege.
And a bunch of gateways were actually thrown down. Double Immortals, 2-2. Like, if he doesn't attack with this, okay, he goes on a Nexus. The indecision against a player like this just kills you, because Tank Raven is one of the hardest things to engage into. People think, like, Colossus with Storm and Archons and all that, really hard to engage into. No. Ravens have this ability where they can block your attacks. And tanks can hit you from like a million range. And Terran can just have this ability where they can just see anywhere they want on the map. So the tanks are always going to have the vision to shoot. It's just so difficult to engage into that unless you play just the most greedy style, take like 5 bases right away, or you punish it, like you're just, I feel like you're just screwed from the get-go playing against this style. But partially that's attributed, obviously, to you don't normally see this, so you're probably pretty unfamiliar with it, and obviously it's a little bit easier for us to see it in the bird's eye view, but my comments still rest.
Yeah, this is going to be... It's going to be just a fight just to engage for Matt. Yeah, he's starting to add on some Stargates, which is going to help a lot, actually. If he wants to start going for a bunch of Tempest, even. That could work out a little bit better.
PDDs.
Still,
Like PDDs block Tempest shots.
the Tempest,
so.
along with everything else that Matt's going to have with this, probably might help. But yeah, the Vikings already. We actually have 4 Vikings at a time being produced. So, couchie he's going to keep himself safe from everything. This is going to be extremely difficult for Matt to actually engage into. I don't even know. We'll have to wait and see because this is going to take a while for anything to happen.
Ghost Academy's up as well, so the potential for nukes is going to be good. And also, whenever this is also really smart going for Ghost whenever you go for a mech sort of force, because Viking Raven means that observers just don't exist. And I think actually playing Protoss is a frustrating thing to do, or the most frustrating thing to do. Let me rephrase this. Detection is hardest when you're a Protoss player. Just observers are hard to keep alive, oracles are hard to keep alive, and then you have cannons. Whereas Terran can scan everywhere, Zerg can produce overseers, which costs 0 food, and they can produce spore callers off of nothing, which only costs minerals. So I think that going for Ghosts whenever you go for a Viking Raven force is particularly good because the Protoss is just never going to see them.
Yeah. I think the one good thing for MattTheKat here, he's going to be on 3-3 before 2-2 actually finishes for the mech army. So he's going to have a little bit of window, but yeah, it's not going to matter if he doesn't do anything with it. That's the problem. Exactly. He's got a 4th base on the way behind this as well. But this is such a scary, scary force here already for couchie. He's got 100 army supply. And eventually he's going to start throwing down a ton of CCs. He's already gotten a few extra. He's got 2 extra already finished up. They're going to be probably into orbitals. This one's probably going to be a planetary, yeah. It's going to turn into a planetary and be nice and safe. But eventually couchie's going to be able to get rid of a bunch of SCVs. And that army's going to get absolutely ridiculously huge. So it's going to be... Still, it's just how in the world is Matt going to be able to engage against this?
It looks like his choice is Tempest, as he's starting to Chrono Boost us out. He's got double Colossus, double Tempest, just going to go for the long-range sort of siege sort of play. And at the very least, if you're against a mech player on this map in particular, it's pretty hard for them to go punish your expansions down the other side of the map. So it's at least decently easy for you to get that. Oh, Dark Shrine actually gets scouted right away. That's pretty huge.
Well, even without the Dark Shrine, there are turrets absolutely everywhere for couchie. These auxiliary bases are eventually going to turn into planetaries, I assume. Granted, this fake hidden 4th base isn't a planetary, but that's not a big deal because he's going to get most of what he wants out of this already.
It's already paid for itself.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't Maynard SCVs there right away.
Well, I mean, there's a chance that those get caught out, and it's a really long distance for those SCVs to go. And really, I think he just wanted the gas income from this extra base. And he can use the mules if he really wants to down here to take care of that. Matt he's starting to put some pylons out on the map, and he's starting to try to get...
They're getting scouted by these Marines.
Are they?
Like 2 Marines already took out one of them.
Oh.
The other one at least is just out of sensor tower range, so this is going to be MattTheKat's... He'll probably just line this outside part of the map with pylons.
Yeah.
And try to set up a wall and basically claim the left side of the map of his zone. But that also means he just never engages that force, because Seeker missiles are great against the Air Force. Tempest PDDs are really good. The Colossus aren't really going to do too much as well. I really, really like couchie's position here, and he's maxed out first. So the greedy opening's playing off. Command centers starting to go. SCVs are going to start to be traded as well, or pooled with the army for the repairs. I don't know what MattTheKat does, man.
Yeah, Matt's already got 3-3, and like you said, he can't do anything with it. He's starting at shield upgrades. He's starting at the air upgrades as well. He's adding on another Stargate, so he's going to be able to eventually get into a huge air army, which is nice, but there's already... How many Vikings do we have? We already have 9 Vikings. Okay, it's only 9 Vikings, I guess, but still. 9 Vikings along with these 5 Ravens. Yeah, this is still going to be... I don't know. This is going to be a disaster, but it can get caught out. I mean, these tanks aren't going to be able to siege up immediately or anything. Thors are here, which helps. They aren't in their high-impact payload mode yet, though.
Do we have a nuke?
Is there a nuke?
We do not have a nuke.
No.
Okay.
That would have been nice. Eventually, probably we'll see that eventually, but not for a while. And now, it looks like couchie's going to be able to get into a nice position to siege up this 4th base area if he decides to go for it, or he's just going to go for the 3rd.
I think both of those are pretty good options. Also, sieging up on this high ground is pretty nice. He splits his army up a little bit. But the Force coming up, it gets scanned immediately. Guardian Shield's going to be used, but the Tempest shots are coming up. Our PVD's going to be used. Yes, they are. Here we have the engagement. The Siege Chain's doing so much work, though. But Vikings not even firing. And the EMPs just completely melt these Immortal shields. They absolutely get annihilated, and, well...
Yeah. That is a pretty dead army here from MattTheKat. He does have a look. There's a ton of Tempest left over. The Thors are left over still, however, as well as all these Vikings. But if the Vikings die and the Thors die, there's nothing really left on the ground that's actually going to be able to deal with all of these Tempests. And Matt can start warping in units and actually defending this. He's not doing anything besides making Tempest right now. He's making a couple more Immortals as well, but Vikings are dead. Now we just have Thors, and Thors aren't the greatest against Tempest. They both shoot very, very slow. So this is like the slowest death ever. This is hilarious.
Just look at this Zealot. This Zealot took out like 2 tanks just by walking next to him.
I see it now. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, now this army of couchie died, so despite kind of a dream engagement, he just didn't have enough in the air. He let couchie get a little bit too much in the air, and he let Matt get too much in the air, and he had no response to it. The upgrade advantage kind of showed through, but the ground armies for both players has completely evaporated. They're trying to remax on what they can, but this is interesting.
I'm interested in why he didn't just pull all his S. Because you're going to start to float minerals anyway.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to start trading some supply, and every unit being repaired there makes it really difficult for the Protoss player, because that was also a lot of damage just over time. Like, it took him quite a while to beat down those Thors and everything else. If the SCVs are full, that's a completely different engagement. But Ghosts are going to start to be coming out, a little bit more Ghosts, and still no nuke just yet.
No. It looks like it's going to be just like a bunch of Thors, Vikings, Ravens, and some Ghost
GTs. They spot this planetary immediately.
Yeah, that's not going to get up for a while. It's going to take the entire army actually walking over there to deal with it, but that's not going to happen because Matt's army is positioning pretty well as well. He's going to be able to get in a nice position and actually deal with this. This Tempest count just keeps rising right now. He's at 7 already. He's at making 3 at a time pretty much, without really a big answer for that. Yeah, he's got 4 Vikings at a time. I don't know how much of the ground army is going to be able to deal with this. Storm's available even, so the Vikings, they tend to clump up and die to Storm pretty easily. And if that's going to be the case, if he's got no answer for these Tempests, he's got no answer for anything.
It's true, and Tempests, as annoying they are killing all your stuff, it's even more annoying to listen to.
It's the slowest death ever. There we go. We got the Storms coming down eventually. There we go. Storms on the Thor, actually, which probably not what he wanted. There you go. He's starting to reposition those. Actually, the huge EMP takes out all the energy on those Templar. Now, Kat has to run away from this. He cannot engage this anymore. The EMP saved his life as those Templar were walking away, trying to get over to the Vikings to actually put down a Storm. Humongous EMP took out all the energy.
Why is this Zealot just patrolling here?
I think it's been there for a while. It just happened to be near the big engagement. But money EMP definitely saved the day there for couchie. But Matt retains most of his Tempest there, which is decent. And still, actually, he's adding on 8 gateways right now. So it looks like he may want to try to switch up his army.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is just, you have a lot of minerals and you want to be able to have a huge warp in after getting that army, because you're going to be able to have a little bit of a surge of more units while the production is still en route for couchie. But couchie, he's still maxed out. The smart thing that MattTheKat's doing now is he's pylon blocking all these expansions.
We completely missed. Matt finally found the base down here in the bottom right, and he killed it with DTs.
I thought that I had mentioned that, very briefly. My bad.
I didn't even hear it. Oh yeah, that base is gone now, that sucks. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Never mind. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, okay. Well, we have another.
Gets wrecked by that cannon, and then gets wrecked by that Tempest. But here come the Immortals. But the EMPs do so much work.
EMPs are absolutely ridiculous in this kind of army composition. It's exactly what he needed. The Vikings are not actually doing work, but there we go. A bunch of secret missiles.
So we had the engagement here. The EMPs actually did a whole lot of work, and the Vikings still alive. They're going to be able to find these Tempests. I'm amazed that he actually had this good engagement despite the PDD, not using PDDs, using the secret missiles instead. But now it's just going to be a big warp in the Zealots, but the Thors are going to be able to do oh my god, the Hellbats do so much work against these Zealots. It is completely eviscerated. Dark Shrine Templar Archive is going to go down right away. Let's see, are there any counterattacks prepared? No, they're not, but turrets and planetaries everywhere means that Terran's totally safe. Vikings going to be scouting out as well. No anti-air, going to be on patrol. That 3rd Nexus is going to go down, but the 5th and 4th base are going up. Oh, all right. That was the quickest. Wow, that was really fast. Okay.